Face down in his waffles. Maple syrup dripping from his fake roll. Who did he see when he heard he was there?
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, May the 10th, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
It's not Mister. I work for a living.
It's not Mr. You work for a living. All
I
right.
came from a movie.
Say hello to the pain in the ass, Mr. Beer Samurai.
Mm.
Is that better?
How you doing today?
I am doing fine. I'm doing. How are you? How are you on this fine evening?
I'm feeling all shagged out after a prolonged squawk.
Feeling all shagged out after prolonged squawk. Gee, I wonder what that's from. Folks, if you don't know, today is, well, I'll say Happy National Monty Python Status Day.
And that was my status.
And that was his status. He's feeling, say it again?
All shagged out after a prolonged squawk.
All shagged out after prolonged squawk.
That's from the Blue Parrot.
Blue Parrot, right?
Yeah, Blue Parrot.
It's not a status, but I was saying that we should do like the Ministry of Funny Walks, but it wouldn't translate well on
Silly walks.
Silly walks, yeah.
Another thing is, after watching, I mean, all the other Pythoners had to see Cleese do what he had done and went, yeah, why? There's no need for the rest of us to try this.
Right.
It was just too perfect.
It was perfect. It didn't make any sense for anybody to do anything else.
No, if I try it here, I'll knock the screen down.
you don't even have to try it all that hard.
Yeah, I know. How many times have I knocked the screen down without doing a silly walk?
You just sneeze and knock the screen down. So
yeah, so not very stable.
Gotcha. So it's also National Whacking Day. Happy National Whacking Day. You got to tell me about this one because this this could be taken so many ways.
You can take it any way you want it. But it actually comes from The Simpsons. It's one of the holidays in Springfield.
Okay.
What state?
Springfield?
Springfield?
Illinois.
I don't think they've ever.
They never say.
They never say.
No, it's just Springfield. There's a Springfield in every state. That's the point.
And then they, but on this day, they go out with sticks and they whack snakes with sticks.
So it's Snake Whacking Day.
It's Snake Whacking Day.
Snake Whacking Day. The snakes don't really appreciate it.
No, I don't think they'd appreciate it.
They don't like it. They don't like it all that much.
I guess the people of Springfield don't appreciate snakes.
True story. Well, who does really? Other than
I don't know. I like snakes.
Okay.
I like snakes. One time I was out geocaching, stuck my hand in this one hole of a rock. There was nothing in there. Went back later and realized there's actually a copperhead sitting in there.
Lovely.
Yeah, so one of these days I will probably die sticking my hand in a hole where it doesn't belong.
And it doesn't even have to have anything to do with snakes.
Or geocaching.
You heard it here first, folks. All right. On that note, why don't we bring our guest in? What do you say?
Let's see if he likes snakes.
I'm not sure if he does. He might. I mean, he is outside today, so it's possible. So.
Oh, you know why I'm eating pretzels?
Why are you eating pretzels?
It's also National Liver and Onions Day, and I said, "Fuck that, I'll have a pretzel."
It's not you. I really wanted you to eat liver and onions on the show.
No,
that would have been awesome.
Not happening.
All right, let's bring our guest on. He's got a guest with him at the moment, so let's bring him on. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Wiesner to the show. Chris, how are you today?
I'm all right, my friends, and yourself?
Pretty good.
Rocky, say hi.
Put your marquee up right here.
Hey, Rocky.
Rocky. Hey, Rocky. Oh wait, I got to fix the marquee. Hold on one second. Let me just edit it.
Rocky, what's Rocky looking at?
Can't sit outside and not have him jump up next to me here.
There we go. That's better.
And
Rocky. There you go.
So how do you and Rocky feel about snakes?
Well, considering I live in the middle of the woods, I don't mind them. But I don't stick my hands in holes where they don't belong, so...
And it has nothing... And even if it were just for geocaching.
Yes.
Yeah. Or other things.
Probably a good idea.
Being a Deepwater farm, we have a lot of rodents around here. So the snakes that we do have are almost pets because they provide a
service.
They provide a purpose.
There you go. That's always a good thing. So.
Yes, sir.
All right. So it looks like a nice evening out there.
Yeah, about 55 degrees. Perfect for me.
There you go. Works. Yeah, it was a pretty nice day today.
It was.
We got a down the shore here. I got a comment. Doug Smith commented, and he said, "Slick."
Not sure what he's responding to.
Okay. Doug, please let us know what you meant by that.
We do a lot of slick stuff on the show.
We do a lot of slick stuff. Well, you do. Well,
I like his logo there. That is the almost it's the state seal of Rhode Island.
Yeah. That's because it is.
You see anchors and the word hope all over the place.
There you go. So anyway, so how was you know what? Before we get into talking, let's.
Beer.
I need a beer. Chris, why don't you tell everybody what you're drinking while I get mine out and Dave gets his out.
And how many? And you're into? We're what? Number 5th, 6th now?
This is number 4.
Number 4.
Well, I was anxiously awaiting the host to get things going.
Yeah, and then technical difficulties on Chris's part.
Yes, which
even further delay.
Which
so Doug pulled a slick one.
There you go.
So Kane
he said, "Sorry, wrong conversation." There you go, Doug.
Kane has brought some new beers into New Jersey to distribute.
Yes,
and one of them being Rare Barrel. I don't know how well you can see this.
Yeah, we can see it. Look at that. World in motion.
Yes.
Very nice. Now,
as a fan of sours, how can I refuse?
How can you refuse? Absolutely. Totally agree. I got a question for you, though, on that note. Now that Rare Barrel is in New Jersey, are they still as rare?
We only got 1 case of each. So hoping stays that way. It's sold immediately.
So it's like, if the more and more beer they make, they can be kind of Rare Barrel, sort of Rare Barrel, rare-ish barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically when you get
label semi-rare.
Semi-rare barrel. There you go.
I will do this.
So anyway, I'm stoked that Rare Barrel's in New Jersey. That's awesome. I'm really happy for that. And I will be picking up some. Everybody got a case of each? Is that what it was? Well, everybody that ordered.
Yeah.
You could only get 1 case. Is my point.
Yeah, we do an insane amount of business with Kane yearly through our stores in Jersey, and we get the majority of. I'd like to think we get the majority of rarities from them, including the if you want to call it their imports now. They're Jersey imports.
The Jersey imports, yeah.
You can.
This is true.
The name of the other one they brought in is escaping me.
Escaping me. That'd be a great name for
Escaping Me.
Yes.
I do like that. Well, they had brought in. You're not talking about Great Notion. They've had Great Notion for a while. So.
Yes.
So
and being as they're literally around the corner from our sister store down in Ocean, it's 1 turn.
They are literally around the corner, which is literally 8 miles from me right now. So I'm at Kane quite often, pretty much. So,
wife's coming out to claim half that beer.
There you go. as she rightfully should.
Absolutely.
There you go. Mark Dill commented in, "I miss Hot Rods. Chris was the best when he was there."
Thank you, sir.
He wasn't good when he wasn't there.
He's not as good.
Only when he was at Hot Rod was he good.
Well, no, he's still good, but he was the best.
He was the
when
best
he was at Hot Rods.
There you go.
When he was at his best.
Exactly.
Always in shorts.
Exactly.
Always in shorts, except
Always in shorts.
until Willie Diggle yelled at me on national TV. But that's another story.
You gotta love it. Samurai, what are you drinking?
Well, a couple weekends ago, took a South Jersey swing. Stopped at a bone saw and I got some Le Petit Démon, which is a Belgian style blonde. I gotta say, I didn't get the little glassware, so I had appropriate glassware.
Very nice. There you go.
That's it. This is
I thought you were drinking the other one first.
Threw you a curveball. I threw myself a curveball. I thought I grabbed the other one first because the other one's a Schwartz beer and this is a black can. Like, hey, here's a Schwartz beer. Didn't work that way. So
since I already poured mine, then I obviously have to drink it now. So
curveball.
Very nice. I am drinking. I'll talk about your South Jersey tour that you did a week before you went. I was down at the new Tonewood location. I'm drinking an EMD. Those guys right there. Those guys. I'm drinking an EMD, which is an English, their English mild.
That is a delicious beer.
Yeah. Here is
So
yeah.
good.
It was so good. It's such a good beer. I could drink it. I could drink this all day. That trip actually started out anyway. Cheers, gentlemen. There you go.
Cheers. Cheers.
Oh, that's good beer. That trip actually started out over at Human Robot. Went over to Human Robot for a few beers and some sandwiches from Poe's. Came back to Jersey. Went stopped at Mechanical. Saw Leah. We had Leah on the show in December, and then went over to the new Toma location over Barrington. It's huge. It's amazing. It's insane. Chris, you been down there?
I have not been down there yet. Just with coming off the last 2 years of nothing being open and working an excessive amount, my Beer Guru travels has been unfortunately somewhat limited. But now it's starting to expand again. Getting back into it now.
That's always good.
Your Beer Guru travels took you to Europe a few times.
The Europe trip, last Europe trip was 2016. It was 3 weeks of just beer, and beer.
Did you have any beer?
Was there any beer?
A little bit of beer, yeah.
A little beer.
Yeah. Belgium, Germany, Czech Republic.
So he was telling us, last time I saw Chris, he was telling us how he was actually pouring beers behind the bar at Delirium Tremens.
Yes.
Delirium Bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Delirium Cafe in Brussels.
Cafe.
When you make friends with the right people, I was literally there. I was in Brussels for a week at the beginning of my trip, and my hotel was literally down the street from Delirium. So I ended up every night at the Delirium Cafe. Made friends with a couple of the bartenders and the manager. And one night they're just like, "Hey, you want to go see the beer cellar?" I'm like, uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. That would be a yes.
Eyes wide open. Yeah. And then came back out, and I'm watching the guys do the Belgian long pour. And I'm just like, you guys got to teach me how to do that before I go. They're like, all right, come on, pour some beers for some customers. I'm like, it's done.
Yeah.
No questions asked. So,
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
It was a fantastic experience.
That's awesome. That's great. The last time you saw Chris was the last time I saw Chris.
Yes, it was. And
yes.
we heard that same story together.
Yeah, we did. It was at one of our producers' bottle shares.
Well, neither of our producers have done any producing lately.
Neither of our producers have done.
I think we need to fire them both.
Well, one of our producers, the last show we did, he was actually a host on the show, so
he was one of.
He gets a pass for that, right?
Yeah, and right now he's in Iceland. So
right now he's touring around Iceland alone, shooting some photographs of amazing scenes and having some beer.
He's had a beer or two.
In fact, it was snowing like crazy about 2 hours ago. There, he did text.
Nice.
So, anyway, and this is after getting back from 5 days in Minneapolis with me last week, which is why we didn't do the show. So apologies to anybody that was expecting a show last week. It just didn't happen. We were a little too busy. And I blame John Hall. His podcast took precedence over ours last week. So
that's good guy to blame.
It's a good guy to blame.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Him and that goddamn bow tie of his.
That's all good. Anyway, all right, Chris, let's start off. Not that we haven't started off already, but let's start off with the first question. We ask everybody the same thing. Can you remember the first craft beer you had?
I sure can.
Can you remember the last one you had?
I remember the last one he had.
I know what turned me into the beer person I am today.
Go for it.
1986. It was a Sam Adams Boston Lager.
There you go.
And these days, some people may not consider that a craft beer, but back in 86, 87, that was, are we allowed to swear on here?
Fuck no.
Back then, that was the shit.
That was the shit.
It was brand new. There was very little to go around. And I went to a college party, and I had a Sam Adams Boston Lager, and I was just like, "Where have you been my whole life?" thing.
Yep. Yeah. This isn't Black Label.
Yeah, that was it was amazing. That was the first time I had a Sam Boston Lager was very eye opening back then as well. So, and Dave as well.
Yep, that was my first.
We all concur. I think this is the first time where the guest is all three of us the same beer.
And it was the same exact year too.
I think we're all about that same age, so
pretty much.
Just about.
Pretty much. So. But in any event, all right, cool. That's awesome. And then what took you from there? How did you get into the business? How did you, I mean, obviously we all know hot rods, and we're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to wax nostalgic in just a little bit, but what got you to that point? Where did you go from fill the gap between that first Sam Adams Boston Lager you had till you got to hot rods?
Through the course of college, drank a lot of beer,
Mm-hmm.
and it was what we could afford. Typical,
Sure.
couldn't afford a lot. But Sam Adams became readily available.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started doing variants and just kept drinking. And then one job led to another. And when I landed at a former employer who shall remain nameless because we didn't part on the best of terms.
Names can be changed to protect the innocent. That's
exactly. One of
But
the
were they
advantages of
innocent?
that job was I moved around the country a lot for them, and I got to travel quite a bit for them all over the country.
Beautiful.
That was the 90s and early 2000s. And actually right up to 2011. And in those travels, I was seeking out new places to drink, and I was finding, oh, look, brewery. It just, I was up in Boston, and I was in Maine, and I was down in Florida, and I was in the Midwest, I was in Texas, I was in California. And just all of a sudden, the guys who were my local people in my local offices were like, oh, have you tried this? No, you guys don't have this on the East Coast, blah, blah, blah. And one thing led to another, and I just developed a taste for better beer, craft beer, if you will. And then when I ended up I was a customer at Hot Rods for a long time before I worked there. And then 2011, left the old company and happened to talk to the folks at Hot Rods, and they're just like, well, yeah, you know the business, you know the food, you're here enough, and you help. I was already helping them pick and define and make their craft beer list because that's the direction they wanted to go.
Right.
Back in 2011, 2012, that's the direction they wanted to go. Was because barbecue and craft beer do go together fantastically.
Sure.
And so I was already, for a free rack of ribs, I was helping them buy their beer even before I worked there. And I was helping Anthony pick his beer list out and make the menu, do the descriptions, etc. This is before the Untapped days when you could just go to pay for Untapped and get a great description printed out for yourself on a menu. And then started working there. They're like, hey, we put you on payroll. All right. And then
one thing led to another.
Yep. 10 years later, unfortunately we closed, but we closed before the whole state shut down in 2020, which hindsight being 2020, what it is, was advantageous for everyone there, including myself.
Right.
Because we would not have survived the lockdowns. The restaurant size we were, and the rent we had, and everything
beautiful space.
Everything involved in that business, in that space, we would not have survived the lockdowns.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I may not have the job I have now. The owners may not have moved on to what they have now, along with all of my old staff.
Right. That's true. That is true. So it's, all things happen for a reason, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. It was an unfortunate situation when it was occurring, but it benefited everybody because of what was down the pipe at that point.
October 2019, October 29th, 2019 was our last day open. And then February 2020, the whole world shut down.
That was it.
So it looked back and just went, ooh, wow, that worked out good.
Yep.
In a way.
So, I remember the last days there, but let's wax nostalgic a little bit about Hot Rods because the newer place was amazing. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. The whole space, but the old place was kind of cool too. It had its charm.
There was a lot of good memories in that old place when even as a customer, when whether it be myself, my wife and I, friends, whatever, we were sitting at the bar. And it was January, February, and someone opened that door behind you. All of a sudden, you could be tired as hell. And all of a sudden, that cold rush just goes right up your back, and you're just like, oh, I'm awake now.
Somebody else is here. All right.
Then that's where we did the Food Network shoot. And, you cram, God, we had our capacity was like 65 people. We had like 150 people in there for that Food Network shoot. It was insane.
That was crazy. Yeah, the space was a lot of memories in that space.
Oh yeah, a lot of great parties in there, a lot of great events, a lot of great friends that I still talk to, that I met there.
Sure.
And obviously, y'all remember we were very bottle and can heavy there, because of the limited space. We only had 4 draft lines to start with. Added on 2 more, totally siphoned off those 2 lines. It just expanded to 6.
Right.
And then, but we had 50 to 60 bottles, craft bottles and cans at any given point.
Yeah. That was the way it was. And then you moved into the new space.
Yep, new building. After the Food Network shoot, we were outgrowing that small space as it was.
Of course. Well,
and then the Food Network shoot just put us over the top, and it aired on, I think it was like March 10th or 11th or something like that. And that was a Wednesday night. And Thursday morning, we had a line down the block for people waiting to get in. People literally, I guess, who were living under rocks from Rockaway, 8 miles away. Like,
a lot of rocks in Rockaway.
Never
heard of this place before.
Never heard of this place that's right around the corner from me. Never heard of this before.
We heard that so much.
Yeah.
And just like, we don't care what brought you here. You're here.
Right.
So, and then we went from an hour wait on a Saturday night to 2.5 hour wait on a Saturday night.
And how quickly did you run out of wings?
On a regular basis, we were running out on any given night. And typical, your big barbecue joints up here, people don't understand. Like you can go to Applebee's, they never run out of ribs. You go somewhere, they never run out of wings. It's because they're not real. It's not real barbecue.
Right.
Sorry, folks, if you're listening, but it's not real barbecue.
No
need to
apologize. It's not real barbecue. It's not.
You go down.
It's not apples to apples. So
exactly. You go anywhere down south. You get online for your barbecue, and then come late morning, early afternoon, they're counting people going, and they hang a sign on somebody's neck that says last ribs.
Right.
And guy behind you, you're SOL because you got there 5 minutes too late.
Right.
So we would run out of ribs on a Saturday night, and people would get all pissed off at 8 o'clock. But like, we've done 400 plates tonight. What do you want?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. They got to you got to look at it like this. And I know it's frustrating if somebody's really salivating and looking forward to the barbecue or whatever it is, whether it's ribs or brisket or whatever it is. But you want to go to a place that runs out of a specific.
You just want to go early.
Yeah, you just got to get there early. But you want to hear that they run out on a regular basis at some point in the day, whether it's ribs or brisket or wings or whatever it is, because that means that they're doing it right. It's not frozen. It's not frozen shit that they just pull out. Okay, get some more out. We got to make more. No, it's the real deal.
Yeah, a lot of regular consumers don't understand that.
Right.
And we became a destination again after the Food Network shoot. We were already popular. We just became crazy popular after that. Sure. And we became a destination restaurant in the middle of Wharton, of all places. And then we had 20 draft lines, 110 seats, plus the stage where we could actually have a band on a stage versus cramming a 3 or 4 piece band into the back dining room and
move a couple tables and set them up. And
the new building was a total new experience. Still not enough parking. For us, our honeymoon period lasted 18 months, where in a lot of restaurants, it's any new restaurant, you're going to get that honeymoon period where it's busy, and you don't know what to do with it. Right. We were used to being busy, but then that first weekend after we were open to the public, we were literally doing on a weeknights, we were doing 200 to 300 plates, and the weekends we were doing 400 or 500 plates a night. And in a 6,000 square foot space, that's just total insanity. And you just can't keep up with the food. You run out of ribs, you run out of chicken, you run out of brisket, you run out of wings, you run out of burgers.
You're always out of burnt ends. When I got there, you're always out of burnt ends when I got there.
Well, burnt ends are an after product of brisket, so there's only so much you can make.
There's a finite amount.
Exactly.
And what was funny to me, and I just mentioned it before, Matt and I last week we wound up in Minneapolis at a a smokehouse. The first night we were there, the Storm King, which is right around the corner from Fulton Brewing. They make their own beer too, but they have great barbecue. And they were out of ribs, they were out of wings, they were out of like 2 or 3 things, but they were not out of burnt ends. Go figure.
Did they burn the whole brisket?
They were not out of burnt ends. So I was able to get burnt ends and brisket with potato salad and coleslaw and beans and everything else. So I was like, you're out of ribs, you're out of wings, you're out of what else, and you still have burnt ends? Yep. Like, give me them. Let's go. Put them on a plate. So that was surprising. But yeah, it's like you said, it's an after product of brisket. So there's only so many you can get.
Exactly.
So, but I guess nobody was going for them that day, and that benefited me and Matt.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. That's great though. So let's talk about some of the craft beer events you had at Hot Rods, because
that's one thing I love to do is plan an event.
Yep.
And at the small place, we had the first thing I started doing was some beer events and tap takeovers and whatnot.
Sure.
The first big one we did was with Weyerbacher, and we paired it. Being as we all have adopted dogs, you saw Rocky earlier,
sure,
laying over right here on the deck next to me, just like, who are you talking to? Natalie, who's now with Founders, has been with Founders for a while. She was my Weyerbacher person at the time.
Sure.
Weyerbacher
Natalie.
That's right. And they did a hold on, don't Last Chance IPA they did.
Yep.
And all the proceeds, or a handful of the proceeds from that beer, went to animal rescues in and around the the Easton area.
Yep.
And so, being as I had adopted dogs, the owners had adopted dogs, the bartenders had adopted dogs, we built the event around that beer. And that was the feature beer for the night. And Nat brought down all kinds of goodies, dog leashes with bottle openers on them, which that's the first time I saw that. And I was just like, that is fucking amazing. A dog leash with a bottle opener.
They were cool. They were cool.
That can't get, walk your dog and have a bottle. Come on. And, the whole t-shirts, rare bottles she brought down to give away, et cetera, which included a tour of the brewery and open tab at the brewery.
Nice.
So, and the winner of that, unfortunately she got injured. Short story, but funny. Not funny because she got hurt. She had surgery. And her name was Joy. She was a customer right up until the end. Awesome lady. I still talk to her now and then. And 2 years after she won that grand prize, I took her and her husband and a couple people to Weyerbacher as the prize.
Nice.
And Weyerbacher still honored it, even though Natalie wasn't with them anymore. Contacted her. She gave me new people to talk to, and they're like, oh, without question, bring them on down. We committed to it. We still honor that. So, they definitely stepped up 2 years after.
2 years after the fact. That's great.
That's very cool.
So,
and then, we had any number of other events. We were talking about it at the Bottle Share a couple weeks ago. My Metallica event, metal beer event, was the crescendo to my events. When you can fill a meat-centric barbecue restaurant on the first Friday of Lent, when you can have a line out the door simply because of the beer and the music.
The music, yep.
It's something's going right.
Yep, exactly. That's funny.
We talked to the Stone guys because we had, and again, I'll try to keep it short. I don't know how long we have. We have as
long as we want. How's that?
Or until John gets really, really hungry.
Until I get really, really hungry, pretty much. By the way, Brian says, cheers, Chris.
Hey, what's up, Brian?
There you go.
Oh, thanks for hosting. Producers.
Well, thanks to your wife for hosting that event again.
Yes.
There you go. Exactly.
Letting you host the event with all of us clowns there.
As one of our producers who just got fired at the top of the show.
Right. Dave fired you, Brian. I didn't. So anyway, continue, Chris. Go.
Well, maybe we'll just cut his pay.
There you go.
We'll cut it in half.
Cut his beer supply.
There you go. And Joe Granat says beer guru and beer samurai in a celebrity wrestling match. That's what he wants to say.
That wouldn't be pretty.
I don't know about that.
That wouldn't be a pretty thing at all. I
don't
think either one of us fight fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, absolutely not.
Chris, didn't you just see Joe the other day?
Yeah, Joe. Joe had a little Neshimony thing, which actually turned out to be decent because the restaurant was full. Right up the street from my house, there's this new taco place, and Joe got talked into doing a Neshimony Creek tap takeover.
There you go. When
Neshimony Creek does not have a Cinco de Mayo beer on Cinco de Mayo. So
that's a salesman for you.
That's
it's Cinco de Mayo beer involved. So the wife and I went up. It's literally right up the street from the house. Okay. Joe and his wife were there, and a lot of the distributor guys showed up. A lot of the guys from Hunterdon showed up to support. So that was a great thing. Nice. And it was good to see all those guys again. I haven't seen some of those guys in over 2 years now.
Sure, a while, yeah, right, exactly.
And the restaurant was packed. But again, taco place on Cinco de Mayo, it better be.
It better be packed, exactly. You walk into a taco place on Cinco de Mayo and there's 3 people in there, something's wrong. Get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Gene Lynch says, hey, Chris, long time no see.
Hey.
Speaking of Gene.
There you go.
I met Gene at Hot Rods.
There you go.
The same day I met Chris.
There
you go. And one more comment. I'm just going to throw it up there really quick just to get it done. Brian said, finally, damn, I've been trying to get fired for months.
There you got your wish, Bubby.
There you go. All right. Anyway, Chris, continue with the events we were talking about. You were at the Metallica one that you did.
Yeah. So when something pops up and it's a weird, I don't know what's my mindset. It goes all different directions, all different times. Mm-hmm. One of our former employees at the restaurant is a graphic artist. He's got his own comic book line. He's a instructor down at Joe Kubert School down in Dover. And he got chosen to do, apparently, I didn't know this at the time, but apparently every stadium show Metallica does, they choose a local artist to do a event-specific poster that's only sold at that event, that particular stadium. So it was a homecoming show for them, Fresno, California. And Bob got chosen to do this poster for them. And he's a total slot car guy. I'll throw it. Slotcarthrillarts.com is his website.
Slotcarthrillarts.com.
Right.
There you go.
Thrill Arts or Thrill Art? Single or?
Thrill Art, A-R-T, no S on the end. Slotcarthrillarts.com. And that's his. And if anybody who was ever in Hot Rods, the old or the new place, all the pictures hanging up above the booths in the new place, that was all Bob. All of those were originals from Bob.
There you go.
And everything had a slot car, very Rob Zombie-ish themed characters. If you look at some of Rob Zombie's videos and album covers and whatnot, you'll see a lot of similarities there. So anyway, Bob did this poster, and he came to us and said, "Hey, listen, part of his payment from doing the poster was getting a stack of the poster. There was only like 2,500 made, and part of his payment was getting a stack of like 300 or 400 of them that he could do whatever he wanted with."
Nice.
So he said, "Hey, can I promote these in your beer menu at the restaurant, and we'll, and try to sell them?" So I'm like, "Hey, let's do some type of event. Let's get you in here, and we'll do some type of artist signing thing." And the wheels started turning, and I happened to see a Metallica thing and found out that the Enter Night Pilsner, the Metallica beer that Stone produced for them, it's now a core item for them, but at the time it was not. So what I did, I contacted my Stone reps and threw the idea to them of, "Hey, listen, this is how I want to build this beer event. It's a concert, and Metallica Enter Night is the headliner. And then underneath that is going to be a whole bunch of opening act metal beers." Thank you, sir. Trooper from Iron Maiden, Attack Le Mans from Megadeth, Heavy Boots of Lead, which was a very, if you know the lyrics, a very Black Sabbath inspired beer from, help me. Oh God, name escaping me.
Yep.
Those guys.
Yeah,
And
it'll come to me. I'll think of it. One of us will think of it.
Yeah, it was a 13.5% Russian Imperial, and
Yep.
it was delicious. And then there was a few others under that too. And so, and when I threw that to the Stone guys, to Dan Turto and Lee Marin, the Stone reps at the time, they're just like, dude, that sounds awesome. Let me run it to the brewery and see if we can get you the Enter Night to New Jersey.
You weren't talking Iron Man, were you?
Yeah, Iron Man, but the name of the brewery.
Oh, Single Cut. Single
Cut. Yes, thank you.
Okay. I didn't know I thought you were looking. Okay.
I was actually thinking something else, but yeah.
That website's not working, by the way. I just put it in there.
What?
Slot Car Thrill Art.
Car Thrill Art. I will have to double check that.
Yeah, double check coming up with like an Earthlink kind of thing going on that is registered there. And if you want to own it, you can own it.
So what? Yeah, I'll double check it. So they ran it to at the time. The Enter Night Pilsner was only following Metallica around the country. Wherever Metallica was playing was the only city where the beer was available. So, but I ran that idea by the Stone guys. They ran it to California, and California was like, oh, fuck yeah. That sounds incredible. Let's do it. So they're like, how many kegs do you want? We'll ship it out with the next order to 100 and then
kegs. Nice.
Get it over to me. Yeah, literally. They're just like, how many kegs you want? So ordered a whole bunch. I think I ordered 10 kegs, 10 halves. And then I was the only place pretty much on the East Coast, because Metallica was working their way around. I was the only place in New Jersey and in and around the area to have the beer. Mm-hmm. And then I had the Trooper on, like I said, and then a Tout Le Monde from Unibrew, and a plethora of other metal beers. And then we made a specific playlist for the night that was just music from those bands. And again, first Friday of Lent, when everybody's sitting home not eating meat, we had 200 people crammed into a barbecue restaurant eating meat. I was just like, this is worth it. This is why this is all worth it. Is this night right here?
They were all fish ribs.
There we go. Yeah, they were all vegan based barbecue
and tofu wings.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's funny.
No.
We joke.
Yes, I shudder.
Exactly. They were some great events. And even when the a couple of the other things you had, some Belgian events you had.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that led to my extended European trip. Mm-hmm. Being as our location, and Belgians are my favorite thing. Belgian beers are my favorite thing.
Sure.
And that one question everyone gets asked, if you could, I don't know if you guys ask it, but if you could only drink beer from one brewery for the rest of your life,
we've done it on occasion. We don't do it all the time, but we've done it on occasion. Yeah.
For me, without question, it would be Chimay. And it's one of my favorite things in the world. And I had the pleasure of visiting there and spending the night there and working with those guys over there. And it was just ridiculous. What an honor that was.
Yeah.
Like you were allowed in a monastery?
Yeah, believe it or not. And it did not burn down.
Wow.
Wow.
The spontaneous, flame.
There you go.
The walls didn't bleed.
Yeah. You did have Bobo out at
yes, 100 because our restaurant was 5 minutes outside the main gate from Piccadilly Arsenal, which is a major army base here in the Northeast. And so we had so many international travelers and U.S. travelers too, people from all over the country, but a ton of international travelers. Mm-hmm. So Chimay was a huge thing. Not only was it my favorite beer and my regular customers liked it, but a lot of the international travelers just fell in love with it.
Sure.
So at any given time, I had anywhere from 2 or all 4 of the Chimay beers on when they were all available. And the 100 came to me, the distributor for Chimay in New Jersey, came to me and said, hey, Chimay Grand Reserve, Chimay Blue is, they want to host a Chimay Blue draft release party. We're doing a couple of them. They're doing a few of them around the country. We want you to host the New Jersey one. And I'm like, yep. They're like, oh, details? Nope. I'm in. Let's do this. And Bobo, Luke Van Mechelen, or Bobo as he's known in the beer world, came up from Texas, where Chimay USA is based, and he's the face of Chimay USA, the brand ambassador for the whole country. And he came up, and just meeting him was an honor and a thrill.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And then he talked with a lot of my customers, and we sold a shit ton of Chimay that night, and bottles and draft. And he came to me at the end of the night. He's like, "Hey, listen, these people love you, man. And Hunterdon talks highly of you and all these customers. So I understand you're going to be in Belgium next year." This was 2015 when this happened.
Yep.
"I understand you're going to be in Belgium next year for a trip." And I'm like, "How did you find?" "Oh, the Hunterdon guys." "Yeah, okay. Sure." I mean, well, yeah. He goes, "And Chimay is not on your itinerary." I'm like, "No, it's a guided tour. It's like 11 days. It's a guided tour with the company out of Canada. And, but we're visiting Orval. We're visiting La Trappe. We're visiting West Vleteren. But Chimay is not on that itinerary." He's like, "Well, can you make time for Chimay to be on your itinerary?" And I'm like, "Uh-huh." And I had a lot of these aha moments back then, and it was just crazy. And he's like, "Well, listen, I have to email the monastery, and it could take a week. It could take a couple months, because it's the monastery. They're not exactly expeditious of things. Yeah. So it may take them a little while to get back to me." So like a month later, I get an email back, included on an email back to Bobo, saying, "Yeah, we would love to host Chris. Just let us know when he's coming." And there were, of course, some restrictions when I can be there, when I can't be there, during the week and whatnot. And I extended my trip. Instead of leaving, I left basically a week early, just so I could be at Chimay for a couple days.
That's awesome.
And I flew into Brussels, spent a couple days there. That's when I got to do Delirium Cafe and everything. Then drove to Chimay. They put me up. They took me out to dinner. They wined and dined me. It was, I mean, they treat you like a king over there if you're industry, and especially if you support the product, of course.
Sure.
And I got to the back room tour, and one of the funny things, there was a guy named Father Philip, 85-year-old monk, and I at the time, before I got there, I had the preconceived notion that the monks had a vow of silence. That is absolutely not the case. not with the Trappists anyway. And I'm being shown around, and Fabrice, who is the counterpart to Bobo in Chimay Europe, Fabrice Borden, who is knighted. I know a knight. How about that shit?
That's cool.
He was knighted by the country of Belgium. So I'm like, wait, I've hung out with a knight. That's pretty cool. It was him and Father Philip showing me around. And outside, when you walk into the monastery, unless you know the smell of wort or mash, you would never know there's a brewery there. Part of the Trappist moniker is that the beer is secondary to everyday functions of the monastery.
Right.
So you can't change the buildings to conform to the brewery. So they had to dig down underneath the building to get these giant cylindrical tanks in. And they do, I think at the time, again, this was 2016, I was there, their capacity was 485,000 decaliters a year. And I forget the conversion. I'd have to pull out the good old Google and do that. But that's a shitload of beer.
That's a lot of beer.
And these tanks are 60 feet high. It's insane. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of this completely modern, updated brewery, there's this little door. And it's an old wooden door. And you open it up, and it's the Blue Room. It's got another name to it, I'm sorry, which escapes me. But I call it the Blue Room. And it's got one of every vintage, at least one bottle of every vintage of Chimay Grand Reserve produced since 1964 when they started.
Oh, really?
And there's wooden crates in there and boxes. And when you talk about inches of dust on stuff, there's literally inches of dust on things. And he's telling me about this and about that one, about this one. This is the first time we shipped to Japan. This is the first time we shipped to the United States, etc. And we walk around and we get to this one shelf, and it's a whole bunch of 750s, and everything's just coated in dust. And he goes, "Well," he's looking. He goes, "How do you feel about 1999?" And I was like, "Well, it's a great year, you know."
Prince thought so.
See, this is where I'm going. You know, coming into a new millennium, et cetera, et cetera. He goes, and Prince made it famous. He goes, Prince, such a decadent lifestyle, but such a talented man. And I'm like, you know who Prince is? He's like, and he goes, "Son, I haven't always been a monk. We do have lives. We do experience the outside world a bit." And I'm like, I'm sorry, I totally preconceived. Oops. He's like, happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
Grabbed a couple bottles of that off the shelf and proceeded to finish the tour of that little. And the blue room's not very big. It's maybe 500 square feet. And then we walked back upstairs to the tasting room, and we're just BSing back and forth about industry and how much beer we sell at the restaurant, et cetera. And there he is, popping the cage and the cork off that 1999 Chimney Blue in 2016, and poured it. And I was just like, "Oh, this is still so good all these years later. This is just so delicious." And then he picked a couple more bottles and he recorked the one. He says, "I understand when you leave us, you're going to Paris to see your wife." And I'm just like, yeah, well, that's I flew her. She let me come to Europe to drink beer with strangers for 3 weeks, and she gave me no problem. I have to be nice somehow. So I surprise trip to Paris. And he's just like, "Oh, well, here, take this and drink some of this when you're there with your wife. Does she enjoy Chimay?"
That's
I'm
really
like,
nice.
She loves it.
That's
recorked the 199 we didn't finish, and then I still have one of the bottles wrapped in plastic. We drank the beer on our 20th wedding anniversary.
Nice.
But I still have the bottle wrapped in plastic with the monastery dust on it.
Oh, geez, that's great.
Yeah, I'm that pathetic. I know.
That's not pathetic. That's great. I love it.
Fanboy.
The conversion, by the way, is just shy of 42,000 barrels a year.
That's
a lot of beer.
That's a lot of beer.
It's a lot of beer. Yeah.
Speaking of a lot of beer, I opened my second.
Did you? I was about to ask you to open yours so I can open my second one. What are you drinking? Your second one?
Well, now I'm drinking a Tonewood.
Okay, we'll throw that up.
I mentioned earlier that it's a Schwartz beer, so I'm drinking Blackbird.
Yep.
It's singing in the dead of night. Its feet were not nailed to the perch.
They were not. How was it?
I decide what the next beer is.
It's a little dribbly. Or I'm a little dribbly.
That would be you. You're a little dribbly.
This is a good beer. Damn good beer. I like it. I like it a lot.
You like it. You like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's not Monty Python.
That's not. Just opening my second beer would be this one. And we spoke about it in the last show. Because the last show, if you recall, we did top 3 brown ales.
We did undo that.
We had Strong Rope on the show, and it was top 3 brown ales not brewed by Strong Rope. So, and Dave, one of yours was this one, Source Proper English.
That is a fantastic.
It's a British brown ale. I'll throw the.
Be right back, guys.
You got it. I'll throw the crawl up as I pour it.
Losing Chris, we think.
No. He just said he'll be right back. He's going to get another beer.
I know. But the comment was
he's
because
on a beer run.
It's so dark there. It's hard to know that if he's going or not.
Oh no.
Just might be hiding in the trees.
Yeah, exactly. Now he left to go get another beer. He went on a beer run.
Went on a beer run.
Went on a little beer run.
So, run. And it's spinning, and it's spinning.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can make it. Hopefully he can make it back through the vortex.
I believe he'll be able to. I do. So.
Well, are you looking at the screen, John?
Sure. Oh, no, I just did.
Now you can see what I'm talking about.
Now I see what you're talking about. Well, he'll be back one way or the other.
Prost.
Chindan. Oh, this is tasty. This is a good beer.
It's a damn good beer.
And of course, as Dave and I always do, we talk about our top 3s prior to the show. So one of us took one beer and one of us took the other one based on 2 that we know we both liked. And this one Could have been for either of us, but he went with it, and we did lose Chris. He's coming back, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then what's it called? But the other one was Kane Driftline. So
Yes.
that was mine. So anyway, all right. So let's vamp a little bit till Chris gets back.
Well, this is back. Hey, been a great show, people.
There you go.
See you next week.
And he comes back, and we're not here. There you go. The whole show just ended because you're.
I said, what happened?
Where did he go? But anyway, yeah, the whole Bobo. He's a great guy. We actually had him at 381 as well.
Yeah.
And that was a good night. And he we talked about the possibility of doing that, but there was no way I was getting to Belgium. So I'm glad Chris got to go. That was
a possibility
awesome
of maybe next year.
There you go. Well, you came close this year. Not came close going to Belgium, just came close to Belgium is what I mean.
Closer than here, yeah, definitely.
Right, exactly.
No, we're talking possibly either Ireland or Germany next year. If we do Germany, maybe a little side trip and then
there you go.
Westerly direction.
In a westerly direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like Japan?
No, westerly from Germany.
Oh, westerly from Germany. There he is. And he's back. And he's lit. Look at that.
He's lit.
He's lit.
6 beer.
he's lit.
The low battery signal came on, and by the time I walked in the house, got the cord, came back out, and plugged it in, I was gone.
You were gone. There you go. So there you go. Well, that's good.
And I grabbed 2 beer on the way.
And you had to get beer anyway. So it's like you killed 3 birds with 1 stone. So what beer did you get, by the way?
I just looked in the fridge and grabbed the first thing I saw. Shucks, a 2014 Havastroon Oladub 21 year.
Okay, so
that's the first thing. Oh, we just grab whatever's in here. We'll grab this.
That's kind of like a woman at a gala event going, "Oh, what, this whole thing?"
Right. Yeah.
That beer was with me at Brian's house. We just never got to it.
No, we had a lot.
We did. There was a lot of beer there.
Yeah,
folks. We did an
8-year
vertical of
Firestone Walkers.
Firestone Walker. Yeah. Hello.
Anniversary.
No, it wasn't the anniversry.
Oh, no, it's Parabola.
Parabola. 8-year vertical Parabola.
Through 21.
I have a 5-year and running vertical right now of anniversary. So when they release 2022, it'll be 6. So I have 17 through 21 right now. Brian just said parabola. Yes. Right. Parabola.
That's how we none of us were saying it very properly after
it didn't work.
We've gotten through them all.
So anyway, how is that?
The Oladub.
The Oladub.
It is delicious. It has held up very well. A little thinner than it should be.
Sure.
But again, it's been sitting for quite a while.
It's 2014.
Yeah, the 2014. April 2014.
So it's over 8 years old. Look at that. Very nice. Very nice.
That beer's more mature than I am.
There it is.
There you go.
There we go.
There it is. April 2014. Dave, seriously, a beer that was canned in March is more mature than you are. So
this one doesn't have a date on it. Oh, yeah, it does.
Silence. Nobody said a word.
No, I'm looking at this going.
So there you go.
I'm just trying to figure out if this thing's got it. Definitely more. January 26th.
January 26th. There you go. What beer is that?
This is the Blackbird.
Oh, the Blackbird. Okay, cool. January 26th. There you go. Well,
it actually is it is actually a Beatles reference. It's in the dead of night. His broken wing.
And he's broken wing. Take
Very
these
nice.
broken wings and learn to fly. There you go.
All
That's
my
such a
life.
great song.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And it is my oldest daughter's favorite Beatles song.
It's important news right there.
There you go. Absolutely.
Good for her.
Anyway, absolutely. Yeah, she loves the Beatles. Took her to see Paul McCartney a few years ago. She loved it.
When he comes back around for the $700 ticket show.
Yeah, well, that's next month. The 16th. The next month they'll be at MetLife for. Yeah, they're expensive seats. Although actually I did see a couple that were actually somewhat affordable. They're hundreds. Upper deck, obviously, but so still get there. It's a possibility. We'll see. All right. You know what? Let's talk a little bit now. Let's move into current day really quick for a little bit. Obviously, not as much to talk about as there was all of the history and the times at Hot Rods, but your current incarnation of your craft beer guru-ness, if you will. Your off-prem prowess at the moment. Off-prem, obviously, folks, if you're not aware of it, means you don't drink the beer there. You take it and go home. So it's package store, so forth and so on. So
well, you can drink the beer there.
Well, you can, but
they're not looking.
Well, you can drink. Yeah, this is true. Or if there's a tasting, right?
There's that.
Right?
We've had a few people purchase on our side and then walk over to the grocery side and crack them open as a grocery shop.
Is that actually illegal?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, then I'll stop doing that. Okay.
You're on private property, but then it's a public access facility. So you're drinking. It's like drinking in a public park. You're not
drinking in public. Yeah, you can't do that.
But they've got the cafeteria.
No, there's no liquor license there.
Yeah, so it's a BYOB.
Nah, it doesn't count. Insurance does not work that way, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
We've had people do it, and because of New Jersey liquor laws, as soon as you walk through that gate and you cross from our threshold into the grocery store, you're off Hanover wine and liquor premise.
Right.
So you cannot crack that stuff open. Well, you can't crack it open inside either, but
right.
Yeah. Parking lot though, feel free.
Again,
not even that.
You'd be surprised how many minis a Fireball you find in that parking lot out there.
Jeez.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
it's probably not too surprising. Actually,
I used to work right around the corner from there.
So,
yep.
There you go. All right, so I want to get your take on what the differences, some of the differences between on-premise craft beer sales versus off-premise craft beer sales. What likes, dislikes, just the differences in general.
On-prem, much as I miss some things, I miss the people, I miss the atmosphere,
sure,
the food, the fun times, the literally being able to drink at work and go behind a bar, grab a beer, and walk around talking to people and be like, "What are you drinking, Chris?" I'm like, "Oh, blah blah, whatever." And they're like, "Oh, well, tell my server, give me one of them."
Right. And
it was an easy way to push,
sure.
whatever beer du jour may have been at that time. Off-prem, it's a obviously completely different animal. People are people. Without insulting anyone, people are people.
So why should it be?
The majority of our customers at our store are fantastic people. And I run into so many former customers from Hot Rods at the store. And they know what they're looking for a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. We have, especially our craft your own section. We do throw a lot of Easter eggs in there. And they people know to pick for them now. They know what they're looking for. You'll see little people. What was that?
What was that?
I don't know what the hell that was.
It's only me and the dog out here, so
bless you. It may have been a sneeze. I don't know.
Oh my god!
It's either
like something flew past you. Actually,
it's either that or the elephant got loose again.
There you go. That's what it is. Yeah.
But so like the craft your own section is a huge hit, and we have the craft your own 4-pack section now, which is all 16-ounce high-end cans. Every once in a while you'll see an EQ in there, Equilibrium. You'll see a KCBC in there, Kings County Brewing, any number of other things. Like if a customer drops a 4-pack of whatever, even if it's a $25.
Like I did the one time.
Yeah, well,
stand there talking to Chris, my hand got a little tired.
Your hand trembled and
oops.
But that was the night we had to shut down early because of the fire alarm, right?
That's right. I couldn't even buy it after that.
Couldn't even buy it because we had to keep you at the store because there was the fire alarm on the grocery side was going off, so we had to evacuate the store.
That's right.
That's funny. That's great.
But the consumer on the off-prem end is a little more choosy. Some of them are just great people. Some of them are just not great people. It's
people are people. You said it before.
Exactly. People are people.
It takes a while to go from your hand to your fist, doesn't it?
You have to be a lot nicer in that environment.
Sure. Absolutely.
Like if somebody was loud and obnoxious at Hot Rods, be like, all right, you got to go. Pay your bill. Get out. Here's your bill. No, you're not okay. Just get the fuck out.
Right.
Can't do that where I work.
You can't do that.
No,
That's a no-no.
We've had to ask people to leave, and if they don't leave, literally the Hanover police or Whippany police are 35 seconds away, so they're there pretty fast. And we do have the occasional drunken disorderly that comes in and tries to get his second fifth of the day, and we have to refuse him, and then he gets loud and obnoxious with a 5-foot tall cashier. And then when myself or one of the guys walks over, they nicely walk out the door.
Right.
Hooting and hollering the whole time, but at least they leave the premises.
Sure.
Once they're out in the parking lot, the cops come and grab them and do their thing. One of the biggest things was, working at Hot Rods, I was on a very strict budget because we were a big restaurant, but we were still a mom and pop place. And we had a very tight budget to work with, especially when it came to beer and liquor.
Wasn't that because you blew the whole thing on the refrigerators?
Yeah, well, when you have, when we closed, we had 22 draft lines, and I may or may not have had 22 kegs for those and another 50 stashed.
Didn't Anthony say that was his Porsche that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. That was the portion of Ferrari that I had saved up in the cooler.
Yeah, it's saved up. Well, that's the unfortunate thing, though, because in a situation like that, and I know exactly what you're talking about. You got to save. You got to sit on a certain amount of kegs because you're not aging some of them, but you're sitting on some of them for events. Maybe events you don't even have planned, but you're going to at some point, and you want a couple of the kegs to go with those for that event to be.
Exactly.
So it's all part of the game, which is why they're there in the first place, right? But I totally get what you're saying. But yeah, 50, 22 on and 50 being
and 50 backup.
50 backup. That's a portion of Ferrari.
By the way, I'm really digging Chris's video right now because it looks like it could be like the beginning of like an Aussie video or something.
There you go.
If I start getting more hair and start howling at the moon, then
yeah, really.
That is really cool look you got going there.
But it went from spending $1,000 a week on beer to in liquor, but at the store now when we do a month end buy on something, dropping $100,000 of somebody else's money at the drop of a hat isn't even an afterthought.
Right.
Because we're going to be able to, we know we're going to go through it in a month, but the price is going up considerably for the following month.
Right.
So if you buy it in May, you get it for X dollar amount, but in June, it's every 4-pack, every 6-pack, every bottle of whatever is going up $3.
Right. So
you buy it to be able to sell it at that retail and still make a good profit on it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to put the comment up that Brian just made, but just going to answer him. Yes, Brian, exactly. That's exactly right. So, but we'll leave that be. All right. Anyway,
it may have something to do with John's hat, John's shirt.
No, not that brewery.
Oh,
yeah, that brewery.
Never mind. We'll let that one go.
Let that one go. So anyway,
hey, shameless self-promotion, man. It's what it's all about.
This is true.
No, he's talking about something else. John's got like logoed underwear.
Well, no, you're talking about John's hat and John's shirt.
Yeah, but he's talking about my hat. I'll show you. Well, it's actually it wasn't intended to be shameless self promotion. It was just that I got back from some sales meetings and just had to get this going, so I didn't have time to change. But it all worked out in the end, so to speak. So anyway, cool. Yeah, I mean there are a lot. there are a lot of differences. I mean, it's all about the beer, right? When you come right down to it. But there are a lot of different animals in different aspects of the business, even beyond off-prem and on-prem. There's a lot of different aspects of it, and every single bit of it, though, I love. It's just part of who most of us are, and it's what we do for a living, right? It's what we enjoy, and somebody said once, if you do something you love for work, you'll never work a day in your life. So
this is one of those, just like the restaurant, this is one of those jobs I actually enjoy going into work every day.
Right. Exactly.
Even on days I know we're getting in, over the course of the day.
It must be nice.
Yeah.
We're getting in, 4,000 cases of whatever. It's still, the people I work with are great. The company is fantastic.
Right.
So I really can't complain.
Joe Grenett just said,
don't put that up. You're gonna
speak for yourself. He was referring to me. If you never work a day.
Hey, you're not on the shelf anymore, so.
Oh, exactly.
Joe knows.
We just don't want to risk Joe's job for a comment like that.
No. I'm sure he said much worse
in front of his bosses.
In front of his bosses. In fact, he did on this show next to his boss.
Yes, he has.
But in any event, no, you're absolutely right. And don't get me wrong, there can be days that are very frustrating because there's a lot to take care of, and you can get weeded, just like in a restaurant, you can get weeded in any other job.
Yep.
But it's still something you love doing, so it makes it all the more easier to handle, the weededness, if you will, if that's a word.
One of the pleasures of it is still when we get in certain things, like when we get in the shipment of other half once a week now that we're getting on a regular basis,
right?
Or the occasions we get in the heady and the focal,
right.
And allegedly Crusher soon, which is going to make me very happy.
Crusher's my favorite alchemist.
When those come in and people find out about it and they come in, and it's just the joy on people's faces to be able to not have to make the journey up north to have to get some of this beer.
Exactly.
People are just overjoyed, and it's still a great feeling when you can be like, people because the heady never even makes, the rack in the cold box, because we only get a couple cases at a time. But people get wind it's in Jersey, and people come in and it's like, dude, I heard heady's in Jersey. You got any? Like, yeah, man, I can give you a 4-pack of each if you want. They're like, oh, hell yeah, come on. And it's like a kid at Christmas. You hand them a 4-pack of heady and a 4-pack of focal, and they're just like, oh.
You put a fat man in a red suit with a white beard, and you got Christmas.
Exactly. You call me fat again?
No. I was calling Santa fat, but that's besides.
You don't have a beard or a red suit.
Right. I got the beard.
I don't have the beard.
Longer, I can get the red suit and drink a couple more beers and not fit the bill. So, Joe Grenett
has a picture in the red suit sometime.
Exactly. Right. Joe Grenett did right, and he says, "I've done much worse in front of my boss." He said, "So there you go."
We have it on video,
and we have it on video. Yes, we do. All right. You know what? Let's do our top threes.
Oh.
We have a top 3 list tonight.
What was it tonight?
Tonight's top 3 list. Well, first of all, so Chris is aware, we do top 3s for 2 reasons. One, when we first started the top 3s, it was before we had started guests. It was only the first few weeks of the show. It was just Dave and I back and forth. So it was 2 of us. We decided to pay homage to 1933, right? The repeal prohibition. So 33, split it 2 3s. We each did a 3. So top 3 list. Plus, top 10 list would take way too long. So
considering we slip in a lot of
considering Dave and I usually get in 5 or 6 anyway, but
I got 5 tonight.
There you go. You do have 5 tonight. There you go. All right, tonight's top 3 list is top 3 favorite craft beer label designs. Totally. Is that a sneeze or a cough?
Both.
I couldn't tell.
Both.
What the hell are you eating? You're not supposed to inhale the pretzel.
Well, when you go to sneeze, you get the initial inhale.
And then the pretzel went in.
No, it's an M&M, and the candy coating got stuck in the throat. As I tried to sneeze, I coughed at the same time.
There you go.
That's not pleasant.
That's not pleasant. No. Not at all.
Oh, what did Brian just call me?
It didn't come out of your nostril, so that's.
This is true. This is true. Brian just said. Brian just called you an arrogant bastard.
Oh, thanks, Brian.
We'll put Brian's list up afterwards. But in any event, once again, top 3 favorite craft beer label designs. So a little different. We haven't done one of these, something like this, or along these lines yet. So let's kick it off. Chris, you are our honored guest tonight. You please kick us off with your top 3.
So many out
there.
Oh
yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's just almost anything from sure they're not. I mean, they are in New Jersey now. Yes, Nightmare Brewing.
Oh yes.
As someone who's a little dark and macabre and is into these types of things,
dark and macabre right now.
Yeah, I know, it's fabulous.
Yes.
Hold on, let's get you into just a half face. It's not
you turn it that way. There you go.
There you go.
You got it.
Nightmare. I did choose one. The Flayed Imperial Oat IPA. Very Dracula. Very. I didn't grab a picture of it, unfortunately, because I had all these lovely technical problems. I was not able to grab a picture to share of it. But if the host over there can pull it up real fast.
I'm looking.
Oh, it's not just Dracula, it's Vlad the Impaler.
Yes.
So, complete with the helmet, tearing some dude's face off. It's a beautiful label. If you're into that kind of thing.
I had to peek through my Untapped a little bit and be like, what was some of my favorite ones? Yes.
Okay.
All right, I'll pull these up. You said the others. I'll pull these up. I'm just gonna do it this way. Here we go. There you go. What's your next one, Chris?
The 1-year anniversary beer from Abomination. You got to look at the label. It is freaking fantastic.
The 1-year anniversary beer from
1-year anniversary can from Abomination.
Sensing a theme.
Yeah, Dave, try and pull some of these up on your phone. You can put them up because I'm typing these at the same time. So
that is an awesome. Wow, that is a disturbing label there, Chris.
Yeah, it may be slightly disturbing.
That's definitely an Abomination. Let me see if I can get my fingers to work here. 1 Yeet anniversary, right? Images, and this is what the label looks like. Let's see if I can flip over to here so I can see what I'm doing. Here we go. There's Abomination.
Oh, there you go. Yours is better than mine.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, and then the Flayed. I looked that one up too.
What does that one look
like? I may have gone slightly themed tonight.
There you go. Yeah, that is a good label.
It's not doing it's justice because you're missing some of the detail.
We'll put these on. We'll put these labels. We'll put all these labels on our Facebook page, folks. Yeah.
Now this I love it when they do this. They put it 3 ways so you can see the whole.
See the whole label.
See the whole label. There you go. Yeah, I love when breweries do that. When they
actually, you know what? If I turn this off, you'll probably get a better. No, you get more.
No, you get worse. It was better without on.
Okay.
And then pretty much anything from KCBC.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, two labels.
They like the Hellas Kitchen is one of the favorites.
Penguin's Planet X is one of my favorites.
Nice.
Nice. They just put out one. I don't have a photo of it, unfortunately. I had to look at it when it came in. So, is this really KCBC? It's got a flower on the label. It's a white label with like a flower.
Nice.
I was like, wait, what happened? What happened here? Somebody got pissed off at somebody, and they're like, you have to put this out.
That's cool.
Superhero sidekicks.
Yeah.
Is just it's such a funny label.
Yeah, superhero sidekicks is great.
And as a runner-up, if you will, an honorable mention, Oh, was it Death by Wombat?
Death by Wombat.
I love that label.
Is fucking hilarious.
That is like the only. I think it's one of the few beers I bought just because of the name and the label. The beer is actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was tasty. I must agree.
Yeah, it's an IPA if I remember correctly.
All right. Dave?
It's such a it's Trial by Wombat.
Trial by Wombat.
Trial by Wombat.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just a real close-up look of a wombat's face with all of its teeth.
There you go. All right. What are yours? Start us off with your 3 honorable mentions.
Well, it's only 5, so I got 2 honorable mentions.
2 honorable mentions. Okay.
Well, one of them isn't a beer, so. But one of my favorite
craft beer label design isn't a beer.
No, it's actually a craft mead, and it's bee nectar. Bee nectar has some great friggin' labels.
Yes, they do.
Con, right?
Kill All Golfers.
Kill All the Golfers is great. Then there was the one they did that had I can't remember the name of the beer, but it was an Imperial Walker made out of barrels.
Okay.
That was a great one. So it's one of the honorable mentions because it's not a beer. It's actually a mead. Another honorable mention I'm going to throw up there is, and I guess it's because I was a medieval historian at one point of my career in college, and Lost Abbey's labels. I've always enjoyed those. So we'll get to the non-honorable mentions, the actual 3. Pipeworks Ninja versus Unicorns.
Ah, yes.
That's just a crazy ass fun label, right?
Yeah,
John's making a face because I
suck because it's my you just screwed my number 1 out, but thanks. Okay.
Then let's see if I can get another one of his here. Clown Shoes. Any one of their big ass stouts just have crazy labels. Space Cake. Those are some great labels. But my number 1 label, and it's really just because of the subtleness of it and the beauty of what they did, is Left Hand Brewing. Kind of paid an homage to Gone in 60 Seconds with a beer called The Stranger. And if you look at the label, it's a silhouette of a guy standing there, and his left arm is in front of him. Mm-hmm. And if you know the reference between about The Stranger and Gone in 60 Seconds, do you know that one?
Go ahead.
Jeff? I'll take that as a no.
No, well, nobody else does. Tell everybody
what it is. I'm sure there are people out there that know the reference.
Well, there may be a bunch of people that don't, so tell them the...
Oh, that's Stevie Boy in that spacesuit.
You got that? So the Stranger so they're talking about in Gone in 60 Seconds, they're talking about masturbation, how the guy likes to sit on his hand until it goes numb, and that way it feels like he's being done by somebody else. And he calls the move The Stranger. So when you look at this label of the left hand beer, The Stranger, you'll see how they paid homage to this particular line in Gone in 60 Seconds. Have you pulled it up and taken a look at it?
I'm not pulling it up. No. Did you pull it up and take a look at it?
You usually don't.
What was your your Pipeworks left hand? What was your number 2?
That was the Clown Shoes.
Clown Shoes.
Yes. They've got a lot of great labels, Clown Shoes.
I want to make sure I have all these because I'm going to put these labels up on our Facebook page for everybody to take a look at. We'll put them on Instagram too. Clown Shoes, which one? I'm sorry.
Go with Space Cake.
Space Cake. Right. There you go. All right, cool.
That's a double IPA, but a lot of their big stouts have some amazing labels.
Fair enough. All right. Hold on. Is this somebody's? Okay. These are Brian. We'll put yours up in a minute.
Ooh, Evil Crawfish. Evil Crawfish is another great label.
There you go. All right. Okay. So I'm going to give you 2 honorable mentions at this point. they're honorable mentions. I love these. I love this can art. I love this label design. So the first one is this one.
Okay. Have I heard of this brewery?
This would be Building Sandcastles from Coastal Brewworks. Okay. Lovely can art.
Oh, is that why you're wearing the hat?
That's why I'm wearing the hat tonight. Exactly, because of these. And then the other one, of course, is Trojan Seahorse. This is a great label. So
it's all very shelfless.
Sameless shelf.
Sameless shelf promotion.
Shelf promotion. Right, exactly. There you go. Anyway,
those are very, very, very sharp labels.
Thank you very much. We'll be available on shelves starting in next week.
And you should probably put a warning on it so no one cuts themselves on them.
This is true. This is very true.
They're very sharp.
That's what I say. We got okay.
That's Bob's website.
That's
I know it wasn't working before.
Harden with an I.
His name is Bob Harden. I just looked it up. It's Harden with an I.
Gotcha. HardenWithAnI.com. Was the other one his website at some point, but now this is?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, so we'll put this.
When you go there, you'll see all the stock car stuff. And you'll be
gotcha. Well, let's put it up.
Oh, that's some cool stuff. I like the rolling eyeball when you get into it.
There we go. Let's save this and hold on before I do my list. There it is, right there. Harden with an I, HardinWithAneye.com. Harden with an I, and we'll put this link up on the Facebook page as well.
Cool.
Anyway, right. Okay, so my three are current three, and
by the way, Blarney would make a great beer label.
Yeah.
If you see Blarney on there, that'd make a great beer label.
Wait till you see our next label for the third release that we're doing. You're gonna love it. So, I'm not saying anything. You'll see it when I see it. So my three labels right now, my top three right now. This always moves, but my number two and my number one, unfortunately, were already mentioned. So I'll start with my number three. It's actually there's something about this label. I love it. It's not simple. It is complex, but it's not like the label art on my number one and my number two. But and I actually had the beer on the show. It's from Grist House in Pittsburgh, London Crawling. It's a dark English mild, and it was the label is really pretty cool. The colors on it. It's got a British flag of sorts on it, but not the actual British flag colors. The way it was designed is really pretty cool. I like it. Again, we'll put this up on the Facebook page. My number two is KCBC Superhero Sidekicks. That's my number two. And my number one is Dave took it before. Pipeworks Ninja versus Unicorn. Always has been, and will be until our third one comes out. Then that'll be my number one. So, but in any event, there you go. Those are my number three. Those are my top three. So.
When you brought up the idea, you should have told me. Just don't take Ninja versus Unicorn.
Yeah, well, I didn't. There's a lot of labels out there. I didn't think that of the three, I was going to say two of them would be mentioned prior to me. But is what it is. So, we all think alike. They're great labels. How can you say? And you're right though. Both of you. I mean, anything from KCBC. They have such great label art. It's crazy. And Pipeworks has other beers too that are amazing as well. Yes. And those B-Necker labels are great too. So we'll put these up on the Facebook page and Instagram. We'll put a post tomorrow.
I gotta find for you that B-Nectar one that's got the AT-ATs made of barrels.
Gotcha. Yeah. So let's throw up some comments here. Brian, obviously his top three are arrogant bastard. He wasn't calling you an arrogant bastard, Dave. He was.
I'm sure they were both.
Oh, it's probably both. He was probably calling you an arrogant bastard.
It's B Nectar episode 13.
Episode 13, and that was just your honorable mention at that point.
Yeah, but it's because it's a mead.
Right.
If it was a beer, it would have really been up there.
Gotcha. Yeah. So anyway, Brian's our arrogant bastard, Weekend at Bullies, and Maharaja. And
and I was going to give Bolero Snort an honorable mention. I forgot to do that because they've had some great labels that, frankly, they should get cease and desists for.
Right.
Just saying.
Frankly. But yeah. So those are his three. Joe Granat said, "Holy womp womp." Now, was that a beer or was he just saying
a comment?
or a comment? I'm not quite sure.
I don't know with these millennials.
We'll have to check into that one. But he did put a beer label up here for a brewery he used to work for, and that would be Circumsession. Yes,
that's a great name.
Mm-hmm. So it was a session IPA. I forget. Circumsession. Joe, what was that? Of course, that would be from Schmaltz Brewing. The former now retired. We won't say defunct. Retired. Jeremy retired the brand honorably last year. Honorably. Sure, why not?
It's just okay.
It's a barrel. There you go.
Hey, they had some great beers.
Aged sour. There you go.
17, 18, 19% beers.
I don't think Holy Womp Womp is the name of the beer.
I don't know. This is what
I'm
like. Just follow these comments here for a second. Joe said Circumsession, and then the next comment he said barrel, and then the next comment he said aged sour, and then he said, "Man, these CBD seltzers are working."
So Joe is melting into his couch right now.
There you go. Right.
Joe with the 12-pack of Happy Dad next to him.
Happy Dad. I sit on the couch drinking Happy Dad right now. There you go. Some daddy seltzers. Yeah.
Oh God, that's going to be the next. That's got to be in the next like Batman thing we do. Holy Womp Womp.
Holy Womp Womp. Have to do that. All right. Brian is saying good night. All right. Good night, Brian.
Night, Brian.
Unless that's another beer that I'm not aware of. Nidal.
It's made by the same brewery as Holy Womp Womp.
That's Holy Womp Womp, right? No, that's the name of the brewery that makes Holy Womp Womp.
Oh,
Nidal Brewing. Okay, exactly. Anyway, all right. Chris,
you know what? Holy Womp Womp would be a great name for a Belgian triple, wouldn't it?
Holy Womp Womp. I don't know about that. I could think of a couple of styles.
I'm sure, but you got to find a way to use that.
It would have to be Trappist, right? Because it's Holy Womp Womp.
It's holy, yeah. It's got to be a Trappist, an Abbey Ale.
An Abbey Ale, sure. Why not?
You can't call it Trappist because, well, you didn't take a vow of silence.
This is true.
Oh, that's right. We don't need a vow of silence to be a Trappist.
No, apparently not.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
We learned a lot on today's show.
We did. We did learn a lot. Chris, any trips coming up other than
I'm debating on the return from Nashville. I'm debating on flying or driving. If I drive, then I'm going to bounce around a little bit. Take maybe an extra day or two to come back up and hit a few places.
When are you coming back up from Nashville?
Depends on Mom's recovery. Could be 2 weeks. She's a strong old girl, so knowing her, today she had the surgery this morning. She's already off the ventilator, breathing on her own,
and cooking dinner.
And she's like, "I'm hungry."
Right.
So I'm just like, yeah, that's her.
There you go.
So, could be 2 weeks. That's the shortest of my plans.
Right.
Up to maybe 4 or 6 weeks. And luckily my work is just like, yeah, dude, go do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Very family-oriented company. So they're just like, yeah, go do your thing.
That's awesome.
Let us know when you're coming back. Your job's still going to be here.
That's great. So,
but if not, after that, we are going to plan because we have not taken a trip this year because of this upcoming surgery. We have not done any real vacation. So after all this is said and done, we're going to start to plan some stuff. We want to get back up north for our anniversary. I should say her birthday and my birthday are a couple weeks apart. We normally travel. So we're thinking about, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine again.
Sure.
And hit a few places up there. And we'll see if there's any beer festivals going on. Normally the main brew fest goes on mid-September. So that would be great to get up and go to again.
Sure.
And Joe Burnett could help me with the name of the place. He brought me a couple beers from there. We met him up in Maine a couple years ago when him and his wife were up there vacationing.
Barreled souls.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything with Joe refers to barreled souls.
Yeah.
Barreled souls.
Beer in Maine and Joe Granat.
Anybody goes to Maine brings Joe back barreled souls. That's
You think you're bad with Chimay? He might be worse with barrel souls.
Exactly.
Yeah, he does mention them a lot, but I can't say the beer was bad. So
No.
I'm not sure they make a bad beer.
Please, not at all. Yeah, right in Saco, Maine. They're only 10 minutes, 15 minutes south of Portland.
Yep.
And his answer to that is yes with 3 S's. So there you go.
And I'm sure he pronounced that yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. As he melts away.
When Dave and I were in Portland last August at the same time, Dave was spared having to bring Joe back beer from Barreled Souls because I left Portland before Dave did, so I brought him back the beer.
And I wasn't going to be running through Saco when they were open.
Right, you wouldn't have been there. This is true too. And you had done it earlier in the year.
And I had done it early in the year. Actually, I had done it. I was still living in Rhode Island just before I moved back to Jersey.
Sure.
So, did the trip up there and then hit whatever. But then since you mentioned mead, Moonlight Meadery is up in Londonderry, New Hampshire.
Yes, it is.
If you're up that way, I tell you, it's a must hit, even if whatever you're doing up there.
Met
the
owner in Hoodapoo one year.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael's an awesome dude.
Oh my God.
It's a small place, but you walk into the place and he's got 60, 70 different kinds of meads.
I met him the night before, and he was talking about something he had aged in. It was Pappy barrels. No. It was
Utopias barrels.
Utopias barrels.
They just released it. I have a bottle of the Utopian, which is a 3-year Utopian barrel aged mead.
Nice.
It just released the 10-year. I don't have a bottle of it yet, but
well, this is one of the early ones. He was telling about me the night before. He goes, "Yeah, you have to be there." And when they opened the bottle, because it was going to be very limited there, he sent his son to come get me. He goes, "Go to Carton Brewing, ask for Dave, make sure he gets here."
Yeah, he's an awesome dude, and
yeah, really nice guy, great guy.
Not to change the subject on the meads though, but you mentioned Utopias barrel aged mead. Aging Utopias barrels is amazing. I don't know if either of you had last year's Worldwide Stout that was Utopias barrel aged. All right, now most of the time I get a Worldwide Stout or a 4-pack or whatever. I sit on it, put it away, sit on it for years, let it soften the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, you said it was drinkable right off. It
was delicious right out immediately.
I've got a few bottles here, and we drank a couple of them, and it was fantastic.
Fantastic.
Interesting.
And that reminds me, next time I see both of you guys, I've got a couple bottles. I think I've got like 14 left because I bought a whole case. 2014 Worldwide Stout.
Oh, nice.
I've still got. Yeah, one of my old 100 reps. This was back in Hot Rods days. One of my old 100 reps was like, "Yeah, I'm at my account, and they just pulled down a whole case of 2014 Worldwide Stout. I know you want some," and I'm like, so I drove up there and I bought the whole case.
There you go.
And I still have it. I still have a lot of it.
That's a beautiful thing. So,
yeah.
Thanks.
Doesn't suck.
That's awesome. That does not suck. 0 suck in that beer.
You have to bring that to Brian's. Damn.
There you go. So, yeah, we'll
we had enough high octane stuff that
there was a lot of beer that night, so I don't think we weren't missing anything.
Except work the next day. It was a Saturday. It was fine.
It was a Saturday. What are you talking about? Unless you slept from Saturday till Monday morning, because then it would have been work the next day if you looked at it like that. So
no.
I left at 9:30, and you guys were still going.
We still.
I didn't stay much longer after you left.
Left about probably close to midnight. We left. Yeah.
I saw Brian posting pictures at like 2 in the morning. I'm like,
yeah.
You're still fucking going.
We set up to kill shots, and then helped him clean up everything, and then we were almost home by the time he was posting them.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a good night. It was a good night. So
yes, it was.
All right, this was a great show. Well, as Dave said before, we learned a lot about the Trappist monks, and I'm glad to know that information, because I was, Chris, as you said before, I was under the preconceived notion that the same way you were with the vow of silence and all. So that's pretty interesting.
And I actually knew that they didn't have that because we had asked that question because they did a cheese tasting at Cloverleaf one. Chimay did.
Yes, they did.
And it was a snowstorm, so very few people actually made it.
I remember that.
The beers didn't make it to pair with the cheese, but the cheese was there. So we still had a good time anyway, talking to them. And the guy was trying to recruit more monks because they're starting to run out of monks.
Yeah, the youngest monk, when I was there, the youngest monk, I believe, was in his 50s.
Yeah, so they're
was like 102.
Yeah, they're running out of monks. So he's trying to recruit.
Did his thing.
But he did say, he goes, there's okay, yeah, you got to take a vow of chastity. And everyone went, yeah, we're out. Because there's no vow of silence. So he went through all the things that you didn't have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forget all the exact details of it. I know I have it jotted down somewhere. But if I'm not mistaken, West Veteran was restarted by a few monks from Chimay. Because
interesting.
The facility was there after World War II, and then a few monks went over there and restarted the facility.
Looks like Gene's going bye too.
And Gene just said, "Good night, brothers." Good night, Gene.
Good night, Gene.
Good night. So
our big teddy bear.
There you go. All right. All right. Like I said, Chris, don't go anywhere. We'll do the outro here, if you will. Yeah, exactly. The outro. We'll do that.
Feel free to heckle.
There you go. He always does. But in any event, this was a great show. Thank you so much for coming on, Chris.
Too tired.
Really appreciate you taking the time out and coming on the show. This was great.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, definitely. We'll wrap up the show on that note for today. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.loggerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Logger Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night around 6:30-ish p.m., somewhere in that general vicinity, depending, in a perfect world, 6:30-ish. But for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Chris, once again, thank you for coming on the show. This has been great. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I fart in your general direction.
Yes. Your mother was a hamster and your father's.
There you go.
There we go.
Anyway, drink a lot of beer, folks, but drink responsibly, and we'll talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Cheers.